What's going on, guys? It's Big Sack, a.k.a. Daddy, a.k.a. the sexiest man in the world, bringing you a banger here live from the Tough as Nails podcast. We got a brief Wildcard game recap, Natty recap. They got the Divisional Round coming up in the NHL, NHL, NBA talk coming up as well. And then at the very end of all this stuff, we'll kind of just sit here, talk, maybe go down a rabbit hole, maybe even give you some pointers on the betting coming up this week. So stay tuned for a banger podcast.
You almost had it perfect.
I got a rep calls himself Daddy.
Yeah.
No. Welcome to the Tough as Nails podcast, week 2 in this piece. I'm Tater, Kalen. We got Big Bryson over here. Hi. We got Big Lander.
Hello.
All right. So thank you guys for coming back and listening to us. The first one was a great time. We hope you all enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoy this one. So we're gonna get right into it here. So like Isaac said, a brief wild card recap. And holy hell, it was a great weekend for some football. So, first things first. We started off with the Colts versus the Bills, and the Bills coming away with that one in a close one, 27-24.
I thought he was going to do it. I really did. I was sitting there. I'm working. Dad texted me. He said, "You might get your wish." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Phillip Rivers has the ball with about 2 minutes left and is down by a score." And I'm like, holy crud. The Colts are going to pull it off. I'm not going to lose every game this week. But what did he do? He blew it.
Yeah. Classic Phillip Rivers in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You told me, you're like, don't take Phillip Rivers in the playoffs. You're like, he's good in the regular season,
it's
but
like
not
Peyton
postseason.
Manning. It's like Peyton Manning was like the greatest regular season quarterback, period. And then when it came to like postseason or playoffs and stuff like that,
the difference between him and Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, I mean that's not a day and night.
Super Bowls.
Yeah, 100% different. Yeah, let's just make that.
I thought he was about to say
I'm not
Peyton Manning
comparing.
sucks in the postseason.
I'm not comparing Phillip Rivers to Tom Brady in any of the sense. I'm just saying that he was a lot similar in the aspect of Peyton Manning was really good during the regular season, and when it comes to the playoffs, he kind of didn't really do as well as he could have. How many? He went to 3 Super Bowls. Is that right? He went to 4 Super Bowls and won 2, correct? But 2 different teams.
Yeah, I think so.
So, 2 with Indianapolis and 2 with the Broncos.
So, I mean, this game all in all was great. Josh Allen, I feel like the whole Bills as a whole team played really great.
Came together.
Josh Allen, like I said last week, he is going to be one of the prominent stars in the NFL for the years to come, alongside with Patrick Mahomes and like Lamar Jackson and all them.
For sure.
So he came out there, they took care of business, kind of gave themselves a scare. So they play the Ravens next week. We'll get into the Ravens here in a little bit. So they're going to be playing the Ravens next week in the Divisional Round. But as far as that Colts team, that defense, they stood strong for the most part. But like I said, it came down to the quarterbacks, and one was able to hang in there longer than the other, and that's what it came down to. Logan, you watched this game, didn't you?
Yes.
So you got anything to add for it?
Yeah, I mean, it ended up a lot closer than I thought it would have been. Like, coming into it, I really rated the Bills pretty highly. And, I mean, the Colts obviously lost a close one, which is disappointing, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people still had the Bills, so I don't think the Colts should be too disappointed about it. It'll be interesting to see how this result, impacts Phillip Rivers' decision on if he's going to retire, try to come back again.
Or have another
we'll
kid.
See how that goes.
Or do it all. Maybe 2 kids.
I saw a quote on Instagram. I think it was from Bleacher Report, if I'm right on that. He said, Phillip Rivers come out and said he thought that every year of his playing career, he always thought that was the year. Like, hey, we're going to all put it together and go to the Super Bowl and win the thing. And I think really with him being with the Colts and having, especially with that offensive line as talented and as young as they are, and that defense is talented as young as they are, I think that he was truly 100% sold of, guys are about to win the AFC South and go take this team to the playoffs and go make a run, Instead, that did not happen. So, sucks.
Colts, man, I really do like the Colts. I feel like they're putting together something great. One thing I would like to see, Matthew Stafford, I think he's going to be out of Detroit next season.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And one good potential landing spot, well, for me, a little bit of a bias, come to Denver. But
God,
realistically speaking, I would like to see them, the Colts, go and try to pick up Matthew Stafford. Because if Phillip's not going to be there next season, I mean, why not just go ahead, go out, try to get Matthew Stafford, bring him in. Actually, because you got a team that's got a really solid defense. He has weapons, which Matthew Stafford has never had throughout his whole career. Possibly the best O-line in NFL this year. And he's taken some abuse in Detroit. So
Yeah.
a lot of abuse.
I almost feel like they have wasted that man's career
Yeah.
potential.
No, they
It's been a joke.
It's the
over
line.
there.
I think
They fuck everything up.
I think people was talking about how like, oh, when you go to the Browns for your career to die. I think that's 100% out of the way, especially from what we saw this weekend, which we'll get into that. But I think it's like if you get drafted to Detroit, I mean, look at was it T.J. Hawkinson? Is that his name or something like
Hawkinson.
that? Yeah, from Iowa. That dude's a talent, man. Like that guy right there can play, and he's just on a horrible team.
Yeah.
And it's
And-
bad. I mean, I feel sorry for the guy.
And-
Not really. I mean, he's making millions, but I mean, I feel sorry in the sense of he might not ever get to the point of being in the playoffs and stuff like that.
Last thing I'll say about it, with like Darius Slay, he cornerback, he used to play for Detroit. Not really too many people like knew who he was because he played in Detroit. But as soon as he comes to Philadelphia, he's regarded as one of the best corners in the league now. It's like you get stuck on a shitty team, your talent's getting wasted. So if I'm the Colts, try to go out and get Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford. I feel like he's high on your board.
I would like to see him somewhere else and see what he can actually do with a team that can work around him. Again, that Detroit has not been a good fit for him and his potential. If he gets some traction over there at the Colts and can pick up where Phillip Rivers left off, maybe start getting some playoff wins, I'd really like to see what the dude can do with the rest
It'll
of
be
his
interesting to
career.
see what happens.
For sure.
For sure.
And there's a lot.
That'd be a
more.
good landing spot, but
I think, yeah.
at this point, that's kind of dreaming. We don't even know what's going to happen in the postseason. But if that happens,
And I think there's a lot more potential for other free agent quarterbacks going to be out there. But we will get into that, towards the end of the show. What was the game after that, Kalen?
It was let's see. After that, it was the Rams and Seahawks.
And
what happened?
Oh, by the way. So this is what we're doing throughout the whole course of the playoffs. We're doing a like playoff picks, like
Gauntlet?
competition. So basically, our picks for the wild card weekend. This is how we stack up. Logan has 4 out of the 6 games correct. Bryce
Hey.
only got 1 pick correct, which
And
was
it
his
was
Ravens.
the pick. It was the
His
only
team.
one I cared about.
And then I had 3, and then Isaac was tied with Logan with 4. So basically, come Super Bowl time, all the way up to the Super Bowl, whoever has the lowest amount of correct picks throughout these playoffs, they're going to be buying everyone else dinner.
Thank goodness I have money.
Yeah.
So not looking too hot for you, bud.
Yeah.
I am the richest man that has ever taken you all to
Stepped
dinner.
in this room.
Except when my dad walked into Buffalo and was like, "All right,
And
here's
paid
the
for the whole
feast,
restaurant.
everyone."
The
He's
spread.
like, "It's all on me." I was like, "What?"
Big old Tim. Shout out to you, Tim. That was-
Daddy
that was
walked in
great.
and said, I'm Daddy Warbucks. I've got everyone's meal. Everybody ate everything and then was like, I think I'm going to get some more. I'll buy it this time. And Dad was like, nah, I got that too.
And I was like,
"What
let
the heck?
me get one more beer. Then
Give me like a pitcher of beer, please, because it's on Big Dad.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the whole thing with the playoff picks. So Bryson was the outlier on the Colts and Bills. So going into Rams and Seahawks, we all picked the Seahawks.
That was...
And we all lost.
So
we sure did. They called our bluff.
yeah, so basically what I saw from this game was the Rams defense exposing the Seahawks,
Yeah.
especially up front.
Oh, yeah,
I said
100%.
last week that the Seahawks offensive line has been struggling and
Suspect.
they
Yes.
got it showed.
Yeah.
And here we go, Russell Wilson running for his life again.
Yeah.
And he throws a pick 6 in this game, not his best game. And even though that offense, they have 2 receivers that were able to go out there and put up crazy numbers. And Russell Wilson was in the talks for MVP at one point. But like I said, it came down to the offensive line. Big Aaron Donald getting back there, and it was horrible.
I think at one point the commentators were talking about how there were 3 guys hitting him every play. It was the guard, the tackle, and the tight end would throw in a little bit of a chip and then do his little route. And I mean, that's,
with a guy like that, you don't really have another option. But at the same time, you send 3 blockers on one guy. That frees up everybody else.
That defensive coordinator, good God, you have to know that. You have to know that this guy right here is going to get a ton of looks, and he's gonna be the guy that they're like, we're going to game plan to run away from this guy or to make sure that he's blocked every play. And it opened up everything else. I mean, like you said, Russell threw a pick 6 as well. So,
I mean,
it's interesting.
God, it blew my mind because I really thought.
We really all just trashed that Rams team. We all just said, they don't have a chance. They're the worst team with a good record there is. And they walked in and they made us all look stupid.
Yeah, we ate our words. Sure did.
Logan.
Sure did.
Yeah, like you said, I feel like it's like a big statement win for the Rams. I said we didn't really give them a chance, and I mean, I guess you could say the game was sort of close, but compared to all the other ones, it really wasn't that tight. And like I said, just going back to when they went to the Super Bowl, like I still don't think they're that good, but if they'd have lost, it'd have looked really bad, and I don't know how they would have gone into the off season. Picking guys up or losing people.
Yeah, especially with the front office and
Big
stuff.
question marks around that. And another storyline, Jared Goff, what's his first name? Wolford. I can't remember his first name. It escapes me. But he was a 4-year starter at Wake Forest. He actually started this game. And he left the game with a severe neck injury.
Really?
Yeah, he got Jamal Adams came and hit him as Wolford was diving, not sliding on a run, cracked him, totally unintentional by Adams, but he had to go to the hospital. But from what I've heard, he's doing okay. So step in Jared Goff, who has a broken thumb on his throwing hand.
Is that what it ended up being?
Yeah, it was his throwing hand. And it showed. There was a few passes I was like, yeah, that thumb is bothering him. But he was able to come out there. He was able to maintain, do enough to come out there, put some points on the board, and win the game. And, I've always been a big Jared Goff doubter, but he came out there and I'll give him this, he's tough. I mean,
It's a tough kid.
tough as nails, if you would. But, no, yeah, his resilience, I have a lot more respect for him after this game.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man.
No, when he first broke it, that was one thing I hadn't seen that side of him before. Personally, when he first broke it and kept playing and kept going after it, I was really like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's something I can respect in the league because a lot of times you don't get to see that anymore.
Yeah.
That hard-nosed stuff from days old, long and gone.
Yeah, back in like the 90s.
Where people cry and get
80s
fined
and
about their
90s.
cleats and
even
stuff.
even in the early
70s.
2000s, you saw that as well. I mean, it's craziness.
I mean, most quarterbacks would just sit. Which,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it probably, but that's why they had him dressed. They were like, look, we're going to put him in here. We're going to see how he does. And if we can get away with a win, we'll save you for next week.
We fully expect Wolford to get killed. And they're like, oh my
But they were
God.
like, you're dressing just in case.
Yeah.
And it worked out
Smart
for him.
move. Very
Yeah.
smart move.
So, all right. The last game on Saturday was the Bucks versus Washington. And Bryson was, again, the outlier on these picks going with Washington. But almost worked out for him here.
Yeah, almost did.
That's the problem. My 1-5 record.
Yeah.
My 1-5 record was almost like 3-3.
Yeah.
I was
Could've
very
been.
close.
So close.
We all could have been sitting there like.
I was watching that.
Man.
Yeah.
I actually got to watch that Washington and Tampa Bay game, and I was sitting there screaming. I was like, "Please, for me!"
Yeah.
And forget Tom Brady. Let's talk about the Washington quarterback, Taylor Heineke.
Holy crud! I was screaming, Heineke!
Yeah.
When Chase, what's the dude's name? Chase Young.
Yeah.
When he came up to the camera, was pointing at his last name on the back of his jersey, and he was
Heineke,
saying
bro.
Heineke.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crud! That is
And-
the next quarterback at Washington.
Let me read the stats here. So Alex Smith was out with an injury. I think it was
calf injury. Yeah.
Calf injury. So he was out for this game. But Taylor Heineke comes out here, 26 of 44. They threw the ball a lot.
Yes.
But 306 yards, one passing touchdown, one interception, and he also had 6 carries for 46 yards and a rushing touchdown. I mean, that's a pretty good day right there.
He laid it all out there, made his case, gave it his all, and that was just seeing him come off the bench, not really ever hearing his name. That was an awesome thing to watch, and I really hope we get to see more of him in the future at Washington.
I think that you will definitely see more of him, but the question is that just one of those, like, what was that guy's name that played for the Browns? Last name was Peyton, I think.
Peyton Hillis.
Yeah, Peyton Hillis. He was on the cover of Madden at one point. Are we going to have like a Peyton Hillis type of, career going forward with him, or could we see a superstar come up out of nowhere? You know what I mean? That my point. That's my thought. Because
was that the game of his career, or is that the game to kick off his career?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the question.
Yeah, that's exactly the question.
And this guy actually played in the XFL before the season got canceled. I believe he was the backup for Jordan Teamu for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
He was one of my Battlehawks, and I didn't even know it.
We didn't get to play. But yeah, he played in the XFL, and I guess the Washington, they saw something in him and they went with their gut, and it obviously paid off, even though they lost.
No,
but,
that's still
hopeful.
something to give them hope.
Yeah, especially for that team or that organization.
Yeah,
that's huge.
For a team that didn't even know their mascot at the beginning of the season, it still doesn't.
Yeah, they go out there, they drafted Dwayne Haskins. Was it this past year when they drafted him? And it was
year before last.
Year before last, and you're sitting here thinking, is this his year to come out and show everybody what's up? And then they end up releasing him.
For nothing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm sure.
Issues.
I know that there was back when he got benched, and I think Alex Smith took over. There were videos of him at practice, and he was, obviously, irritated with that decision. You could tell by his body language. You could tell by the way he was just kind of, standing there and looking and only getting reps with the second and third string guys and stuff along those lines. I mean, he was very distraught, and then you had the whole strip club escapade that happened with him.
Taking a selfie.
Yeah.
When he literally had to go out and finish the game. Offense runs on the field. He's over there taking a selfie with a fan.
Yeah. I think that
just unfocused.
Oh yeah, he wasn't all there. And I totally can see it on both sides that, hey, you're in the NFL, you're making tons of money. This is the first time you're going to get any that kind of money ever, So, and then again, you have at that point you're in the NFL, you're a professional. You got to conduct yourself that way.
Logan, got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I still think Alex Smith is great. Obviously, has a long history of a lot of injuries, so it's great to have.
He really died from that broken leg.
It's great to have a backup option like that, or either way, even if he's gonna start, and if nothing else, to be behind Alex Smith, like a good veteran presence to learn from.
That's
just always gonna
literally
be
the
good.
guy Patrick Mahomes sat behind.
Yeah,
that's a goofy thing to think of. Dude had a broken leg and almost died from it in the 21st century. Not like Civil War era,
that
but now.
bad, though.
Goodness gracious!
And the fact that he came back and was what, 4-1, 5-1.
He was 4-1. Technically 4-2, but I wouldn't count this last playoff game because he didn't get to play.
Yeah. But I will say, with all that being said, it shows that the Buccaneers, they're human. And they play the Saints next week.
And that's not Heineke. That's Breeze.
That's
another
this might be
animal.
Breeze's last year, so he's
laying
definitely
it
going
all out there.
Yeah. So
Kamara's ready for it. He's laying it all out there. Michael Thomas might wake up or something.
hey, he woke up against the Bears, though.
Yeah. Did he get a receiving touchdown?
I think so.
Did he?
Yeah.
Hopefully he's got more than Cam Newton now.
But so yeah, Brady went 22 of 40, 381 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's Brady being Brady, But I think the big question with the Buccaneers is their defense, because clearly that Washington team gave them way more trouble than they should have.
And that is nowhere near the same caliber as the Saints.
No, not at all.
And if you struggle to stop them, you're really going to struggle against Breeze and Kamara over there.
So that's my biggest takeaways from that game. So leading into the Saints, they played the Bears, and I really don't have much to say about this one. It was just Saints being the Saints. What was the final score, like 21-9?
Yeah.
Blank
something like
being the blank is your thing today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just Bears being Bears, Saints being Saints,
Yeah.
some guys being dudes.
I mean, that's pretty much all I can sum it up to. I mean, it's just I knew into this game, like, if the Bears came out here and won this game, I would have been completely surprised.
Absolutely.
I would have been more surprised than the Rams beating the Seahawks.
Yes, for
So-
sure. I don't know. I was really hoping Nick Foles had like another like surprise in him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I knew where that game was going. There was no way Breeze was going to let the refs or anything like that happen this year. He's going to get after it, and I'm curious to see how far they end up going.
So, anything you want to add about that? Some little snippet
I mean,
might make it more
I
interesting.
mean, like you said, on the whole, the weekend of games is really exciting, but I'd say that game was probably the least.
the
Most
weirder.
lackluster.
Yeah.
I think my only comment on that game was the option to not kick the extra point at the very end of the game. I thought that was kind of odd. You know, I mean, even though you've lost.
Shout out to Jimmy Graham on the beast catch.
Yeah, oh my Lord. And he just scored, put it down, ran to the locker room. He was like, fuck this, I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm gone. You know, so I think that would probably be my only thing. I mean, as a coach, I'm sitting there thinking, like, let the kid go out there and kick the extra
Yeah,
point.
that's
You know what I
weird.
mean? Just, you know, and if he misses it, oh, well, if we've lost anyway, you know, I just thought that was kind of
Jimmy
weird.
Graham was already halfway home at that point.
He was in the car
Yeah.
with the keys right.
Yeah.
He was ready to go.
I'm out of here. I'm going to go home and eat some chicken
Yeah.
and go to bed.
Yeah.
Naked in the shower.
Crying. They're crying on the stool. Chicken's so good.
Freaking Moss, that guy, though.
Soggy chicken in a hot shower, just munching.
This is so good, but man, it got so wet. It's so messy.
God, I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I could just get out and eat it.
Yeah.
All right. Next game,
For the
you
big
two,
boy.
let's keep this civil.
I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
We
That's
all
not the
know.
same.
We all know what happened at
Yeah.
the end.
So, Titans versus Ravens. And Ravens come out on top, 20-13. And this is Lamar's first playoff win in his third season.
Change the narrative.
Yep.
That was the big argument about him and his game was his performance in the playoffs.
So I will say this, that early pick that he threw, he got that out of the way early. And what I noticed was after that, he was on point.
He's lighting up.
Yeah, I mean, he was sitting there, he ran for a touchdown, a huge touchdown. He didn't throw for any, but, I mean, he came out there and he was like, okay, I'm not going to push the envelope here. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to do what needs to be done to win this game. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh yeah, he was the leader of that team, and you could see it. And that's one of the biggest things I respect about him and the way he plays the game. He plays with a lot of heart and passion and fire, and he really cares about what he does out there. And he just said, "It's time I lead this team, and we got to make it happen."
Yep.
And he sure did. They took care of business. They got the win, and frankly, I think that's going to be a harder game than their game next week. I really do. I think if they can beat the Titans, they can ride that momentum and get the Bills, and then he goes even in playoff wins and losses, and he'll be 2-2, and really I think that's awesome because again that's the biggest argument against him, and I'd love to see that change because he's a really talented guy, and that dude gets too much hate for what he does for this
100%.
game.
I
I don't
agree.
understand why. I think success, like at such a young age, really warrants a lot of people
It's the media,
hating
bro.
it and everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think the biggest thing. I mean, I know when I was sitting there watching the game when the Titans went up 10-0, I was sitting there thinking, well, it's over.
I know.
You know,
I saw
I
it.
was like, I think it's over. I think Lamar looks, distraught, and especially after he threw that pick, I was like, it's over with. And I thought that it was, the Titans' defense not being a super solid core group. I mean, they're good. They're all good players, obviously. I mean, they're in the NFL, but they just weren't that good as a unit. I was sitting there thinking, if they can get one or two more stops, the game's over with. Because I thought Derrick Henry was going to be the one that was going to be the hardest guy to stop. And turns out that I was completely wrong. it was completely flipped. I mean,
I'm sitting
you know.
there riding in the truck, sticking mail in the mailbox. Hey Google, what's the score of the game? 10-0 Titans. I was like, oh no.
yeah. I mean, it was interesting to see. I mean, that Baltimore's defense stepped up, and I think Derrick Henry had under 50 yards of rushing or something along those lines.
4 yards on 18 carries.
Yeah, I mean it sucks. I'll say one thing about the very end of the game when the Titans got the ball back and they were driving down the field, and Ryan Tannehill was throwing the ball. The guy's name escapes me who the receiver was, but he threw it and the receiver falls and he just throws it right to the defender. All game, you had A.J. Brown mossing on people. That dude was beating guys all over the field. He had a one-on-one go route, which, if you don't know what that is, you're just basically running straight up the field. And he had him beat on his fourth step. He should have thrown the ball. It was a guaranteed touchdown. The guy was 2 steps behind him.
He already had it made up in his mind where he was
Yeah.
going. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't even look
You
at that
can
side of the
watch
field.
that play. He knew where he was
And
going
I
with the
think
ball.
that looking back on it, you could sit there and say that a lot for the entire game. That when he came out of the huddle and he scanned the defense and looked at what he's got, he goes, I automatically know where I'm throwing. I'm not gonna go through my progressions. And I don't
if he
know if
doesn't
that's
fall, there's a chance he catches it, but more than likely that's an incomplete pass.
No, but I mean, if we can all sit there and see where Tannehill's going with the ball, a very talented back like Marlon Humphrey over there, he knows the ball's coming.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised he didn't eat more of that up.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought that was huge for the Ravens. Again, I'll give you a little stat that the commentator said for that game that Lamar Jackson hasn't won a championship at the high school level, the college level, and obviously not at the professional level. And he's going into the season wanting to change it. And I agree with you on the narrative. And that guy's a leader. I mean, I was watching his interview at the very end of the game, and obviously I was full of emotion because I was, obviously upset because I am a Titans fan. And he was sitting there like, our coaches, we didn't get, discouraged or, start getting crazy and stuff like that. They stayed with it. We were doing the plays that we had already worked on all week, and we played a good game, and they believed in us, and we believed in ourselves, and we came out with a win. So that's huge for him.
The two big things I probably respect most about him is he's humble and he's hungry. He doesn't sit there and brag about everything. He's grateful for what he gets, and he goes out and he just wants more every day, and he wants the best out of everybody on that team, and I think that's just an awesome thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, coming out of college, honestly, I didn't think he would ever be a starter. Or maybe just because of the type of quarterback he is. But I feel like more and more, like, the NFL is moving more away from just straight pocket passers to people that are more athletic and can run as well. Which is good because it makes it more exciting.
Oh, for
and there's
sure.
a lot more people like that in college. But you've seen, I mean, been a lot of really talented college quarterbacks that are not just passers, but have running ability too, and then never really make it or get a chance in the NFL. So it's cool to see that.
He's very lucky that Harbaugh wanted to build the team around him and his capabilities.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the main differences between him and other quarterbacks that have come in the league is that he had a coach willing to work with him and his skill set. You don't get to see that too often. A lot of times when quarterbacks get up there, it's you fit into our system or you're not staying here.
It's ego at that point from the coaching staff.
And I think that's one of the reasons that Harbaugh's really one of the best coaches out there, just willing to do something like that and try it.
For sure. So, all right, last game of Wildcard weekend.
best
My
game.
favorite game of the weekend
Tough.
was the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. Holy
And
Your
cow.
favorite game? Why? It was just boring and a slaughter and all
Do you
that.
understand the weight behind this game?
Tell that to a Browns fan.
No, I know, but I don't know. I like to see a close game. That's why I think the Colts and Bills game was better than the Browns Steelers.
But as far as Browns fans are concerned, they just won the damn Super Bowl.
Yes, they did. They're over there blowing the champagne bottles up.
So, I mean, all right, first and foremost, I think this game solidifies Baker he is a QB1 He is a franchise quarterback for this team. And Isaac, I know you don't like him,
I thought,
but I've been with this guy ever since he came out of
This is
college.
true.
yeah,
I don't think one game can solidify him because every time I think he's solidified and I think he's in there, he does some stupid knucklehead thing, regresses 3 or 4 games, and then comes back all of a sudden.
But this season, I mean, he's really toned down on the interceptions.
I just want to see what happens
Turnovers,
next
bad
season.
mistakes.
I just want to see what happens next season. I'm not willing to jump on any bandwagon right now just because of the inconsistency.
Okay,
with it.
let me like clarify.
No, I get
He
it.
is the Browns QB1.
Yeah.
he is their guy. Okay. So going forward, I mean, he played his ass off. I mean, no interceptions. That O-line did great with the absence of Joel Bitonio. He didn't get sacked once throughout this whole game.
it's huge.
And
Oh, yeah.
and I think the Browns, they just came ready to play compared to the Steelers. The Steelers just looked like they just weren't there.
No.
I mean, and it started in Week 12 with that loss against Washington. I mean, everyone can say they're not surprised that this happened because of the decline that they had. They went 1-4 in the last 5 weeks of the season.
I think that I'll say this about Baker Mayfield. He's come out and he's had some super good games this year. I mean, he went out and threw, I think it was 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns against the Titans and beat them. And that was no, easy task by any means. Going out there and winning a playoff game is huge. I think the guy does have a ton of hate, though. And I understand why. My biggest thought was coming into this season was seeing the decline that he had last year. He went out there and was like, I'm going to come out with all these progressive commercials and doing all that stuff at home with
More
Baker.
commercials than wins.
Yeah, I mean, like, it
It was an issue.
It was obvious
Yes.
at that point, which I mean, I can understand to a point because I mean, he's just we got to think he's right at our age as well. I mean, he's only a few years older than us, and I mean, when you get thrown that kind of money and sponsors and stuff like that, why would you not take it? Go have some fun. But I mean, I think that those coaches went in there and sat him down and go, listen, man, we're all about you going out there marketing yourself. Larry Fitzgerald does it. You got who is it? Aaron Rodgers does it with State
You got
Farm.
Patty Mahomes
Patrick
doing
Mahomes
Head
does
and
it with State
Shoulders.
Farm.
He's also
and
doing
Head and
State
Shoulders.
Farms too now.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you have all these guys doing that kind of stuff, so you can't sit there and pick and point and pick that guy apart because he does commercials when a lot of other people do.
See, the only time
commercials.
people do that is when they're losing.
Man, I'd
or
love
they're
to
not
do
producing.
something weird like that. Be a very successful NFL player, and then I'm like just a advertising dude for some video game or something like that. Just like a platformer that makes no sense. I'd love to do something weird and obscure. Like, you see me pop up on the stupidest commercial ever.
Like Titleist balls, golf balls. These are great golf balls, guys. NFL players saying that. You know what I mean? This is weird. But I think that, Kalen, to your point, I think that he is the Browns quarterback for the years to come. It'll be interesting to see what he does this upcoming year and what he does, later on this week when they play.
They play the Chiefs.
Yeah, they play the Chiefs. So we'll get into like the betting odds and stuff like that when we get to there. But it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out for them, and it could be a lot closer game than people think. I'm gonna make that statement.
I don't want them to beat the Chiefs just because I want to see Lamar go against the Chiefs. Because as he said, that's their kryptonite. He has yet to beat them.
Thinking ahead of the game already.
I know.
Get
I
past
just
the Bills
that's
first.
just
Let's
what
save
I
that.
wanna
Let's
hear.
save that for that.
Yeah.
So.
We'll save it
Look, you
for
can
later.
talk about shit.
I know,
Ain't
I
no
know,
reason
but
to
we don't
cut me off.
We don't want to blow our load too early here,
Yeah,
okay? So, okay, Logan, you want to wrap up the recap with any thoughts or
Yeah, I
anything?
mean, just in that game, I feel like the Browns really just came out with a chip on their shoulder, just with everything going on and having players out and their coach out. And in that game, I feel like they really needed a hot start, and that was exactly what they had. And it was 28
Literally
and 28
from the start.
Yeah, and 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, which is almost impossible to
Now,
blow.
I will say
Although
this.
it did get closer at the end,
Yeah.
and a little scary.
Yeah, Big Ben, I mean, he threw for 4 touchdowns, but he threw 4 picks.
Yes.
And
I feel like the turnovers were one of the big stories.
Yeah,
of the
for
game.
sure.
But ending it with this is the Browns' first playoff appearance since 2020 or 2002. Excuse me, 2022.
It's like they were ahead of the game.
And they lost against the Steelers in that game, and their last playoff win was in 1995 versus the Steelers.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
So-
And when they showed Ben Roethlisberger's stats versus the Browns throughout his career, it was like 23-2.
He owns them.
The last
Yeah.
time the
Until
Browns,
now, but
other than the other day, the last time the Browns won a playoff game, we weren't even thought of yet.
Yeah.
I'm
I
super
don't think my
happy.
parents, no, they were married at that point. They were married for 1 year.
But I'm
Yeah.
just
I mean-
I'm super happy for the Browns and the
Yeah.
Bills getting
Yeah.
wins.
I
Two
mean,
franchises.
It's always good to see something.
Two
like that.
franchises that have always been down.
Yeah.
The Browns always just winless seasons or 1 or 2 wins and having tons of quarterbacks. Hopefully they got that nailed down now.
so now
And the
it's
Bills-
And becoming a legit
the
threat.
Bills,
Bills always
first
in the-
playoff win
Yeah.
since 2000.
The Bills always in the shadow of the Patriots, never win their division, and then they beat them twice in the season.
Win the division, go on to win the wild card.
There you go.
Here's a change of the tide in the
Yes.
NFL right now, and I dig it.
Yeah.
All right, so like something we haven't really tried yet is little segments and stuff, and I was trying to think of something that pertains to me, working so much and everything right now. Really, all I have time to do is scroll around a little bit on social media, and one of my favorite little guilty pleasures when it comes to NFL are just weird stat lines, just things that just like you hear them and it's like, is that right? So really, I found a couple and I just wanted to share them with you guys today and just like let y'all tell me what you think. Okay, so first one, our boy Peyton Manning, in his last 8 seasons of his career, he had a combined total of negative 34 rushing yards.
I can see it.
Just thinking about that. And one of my favorite things in the end of his career was that bootleg out for the touchdown.
Fooled
and
the whole damn stadium.
the whole
the cameraman.
The cameraman, nobody gave him a shot in the neck. And you know, one of my favorite things is his little interview afterwards where he said he was just embarrassed. He said he just felt betrayed by everyone. No one gave him a chance.
Yeah.
Jumping from Peyton Manning to Marvin Harrison, one of his old wide receivers. Marvin Harrison is the only player in NFL history to record a catch in every game he played in.
Man.
What a beast.
So
How long was his career? Did you have that?
this is not a clue.
Shout out to the man that got those stacks for every receiver in the history.
Had to go back and watch every game. Go to the exact point.
I gotcha. All right. One of my favorite ones, because I've seen this video, and I didn't watch this happen live, but it was one of the old little reruns, one of the first things I saw when I first started getting into NFL football. Brett Favre's first completion. Do you know who he threw it to?
Oh, hell.
Probably Aaron Rodgers.
As receiver.
It was
10-year-old Aaron.
He rushed in a touchdown. And he threw it in the stands to who guessed it, but Aaron Rodgers is a little boy. No, Brett Favre's first completion in NFL was to himself.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
Yes. So I've seen the video. It's been a while, so I'm a little fuzzy on the details. But no, he threw it up and it got batted back and he caught it. Yeah. And I think he
Tannehill
ran it.
vibes.
He
Oh,
either
yeah.
got like just to the line of scrimmage or it was still a little bit of a loss. But that was a very interesting thing.
At least it's not as bad as when
Fun.
Tannehill had a 10-yard completion to himself this past weekend. Literally, dude jumped up and just Hadoukened it back in his face.
Yeah, bro.
But he caught it.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's crazy. Yeah, Marvin Harrison, though, I mean, that stat really doesn't surprise me.
No,
I mean, that
man.
guy,
He's an animal.
oh my God.
All right.
GOAT.
And I think I'm going to end it on this one just because I thought this was, when I read it, I was like, man, this one's just goofy.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys some guesses. I want to hear everybody's guess here. The person with the most passing touchdowns without an interception for their full career is who?
Repeat that.
Most passing touchdowns, no interceptions in their entire career. Do you know who it is?
So I mean, they'd have to have a pretty short career.
Yeah, probably like a backup.
Maybe someone that got injured.
Just give me one
badly,
guess who
something.
you think it is.
Oh,
Isaac.
God.
Is it actual quarterback?
Yeah.
I'm not telling you. You've just got to take a guess here.
Julian
Is
Edelman.
he- I was gonna say, is it
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman.
Julian
Julian Edelman. Who you got?
I'm going to say it's, I can't remember his name, but it was the big defensive lineman for the Chiefs that threw a
Oh, Don
touchdown.
Poe?
Yeah, him.
most passing touchdowns without an interception for a full career is LaDainian Tomlinson.
Really?
Yeah.
what?
How
How
about
many
that one?
touchdowns?
I don't know.
At
he
least
threw
two.
At least. Because Derrick Henry's got
at
one
least
too.
8. At least 8, I do
Really?
believe, is the
That's
number.
awesome.
Is 8.
Such a beast
But no,
for the
yeah,
Chargers.
that's just what I wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
I think
That's a good little-
Well, I mean, he
that's
played for the
based on.
Chargers. They
Yes.
needed everything they could get, I
Yeah.
guess. But I mean,
Say LaDainian Tomlinson.
No, but next time we do this, I'm gonna make sure to have a little bit more ready. I'm gonna try and get a little bit more organized. Maybe someone we like, something you maybe didn't know, and then I'm gonna try and just find a crazy one right there for the
Yeah, that's cool.
Do 3 or 4
Yeah, I
each
like
time.
that.
But yeah, no, that LaDainian Tomlinson one, that one really threw me for a loop. I was like, no way.
what are we going to
And
call this?
I don't know. We'll
Bryson's
think-
useless stats that are awesome, but still useless.
we'll have to come up with some stupid acronym or something.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
But,
I do
But
want
no, that's just what I found. Thought you'd enjoy.
Shit, man, you learn something new every day.
Yes.
By God.
I do wonder what Julian Edelman's is though.
He's got to have at least, I'd say at least like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think he's thrown an interception.
That
Yeah,
wasn't none to
man.
Tom Brady, though. He can't catch the touchdown passes.
I know he threw a pass to Tom Brady at some
Super
game.
Bowl
I remember watching.
53?
Yeah.
2?
No, if I remember correctly, Edelman threw an interception on one of those passes, though. I could be wrong.
Still a completion.
Exactly.
Technically.
Yeah.
So,
Just to the wrong guy.
all right, so transitioning into the national championship
I
game.
don't even want to hear about it.
Well, too bad.
Stupid game.
So Alabama, who would have thunk it,
Yeah.
won it against Ohio State. Who would have
Big
thunk they
old
would have been
shot.
there either? But oh my God, this game was I mean, it looked promising at first.
Yeah, I thought it was
I mean, it
going to
really
be a
did.
slugfest.
But geez, I mean that Alabama offense was just too much to handle.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I remember the biggest thing for me that really stood out in that game was not any of the starters. It was when they put their backup running back, Alabama put their backup running back in. I don't know his name, but I know that he was number 4. And he goes out there and I think it's like a 15 or 20-yard run, and he runs over like 3 people and finally gets tackled. And I'm like, I know that I've only seen that guy run once, but holy crap, if that is your second string guy, how do you expect to lose? You know what I mean? It's just, I think it was Colin Cowherd made the statement that Clemson's a family and Alabama's a factory. And I think that that's probably as on point as you
Yes.
can get.
Factory for running backs. You can
Yeah.
just rattle them off.
Yeah, I mean, and it's factory for first
They
round
might be a
draft
factory
picks.
for quarterbacks
Yeah,
now.
for a long time
Yeah.
it wasn't the case, but
I mean,
we
with
got
the last
Tua
one-
and Jalen Hurts.
You got Jalen Hurts went there, and you have Tua.
Yeah,
And now with
now you got Mac
Mac
Jones,
Jones.
and I mean probably the last notable one was AJ McCarron, and he's never.
as a backup.
Never really
Yeah,
did
yeah,
all
he's
that
a
well.
backup
he'll be
quarterback.
a career backup.
Yeah,
So
and the thing about this game, let me read you some stats from the
Stats.
Alabama.
You thought you had stats.
Oh, I got stats.
LaDainian Tomlinson stats.
So Mac Jones, 36 of 45 for 464 yards and 5 touchdowns. Najee Harris, running back, number 22, had 22 carries for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then leading and receiving, Devontae Smith, Heisman-winning wide receiver, 12 catches, 215 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
That's
Say-
unbelievable.
Didn't even play the whole game.
yeah, 18 yards average per carry or
Yikes.
catch.
that's unbelievable.
So, and keep in mind, these 3 guys were in the run for the Heisman Trophy, and they showed why. And
Yeah.
So, when I was watching this game, this is what I saw at Ohio State. Their plan was to take away the edge from Najee Harris, force him inside, and it was working a little bit. He really wasn't getting his footing until about, I mean, we know what happened about second quarter. He started
Yeah.
doing his thing. But, I mean, that's the thing. They were focused on taking away the edge, but then on pass plays, I mean, Devontae Smith was out there, and they just kept throwing it to him on the sideline, and they just kept exposing him on the sideline with Devontae Smith. And then in the run game, eventually Najee Harris was able to get the edge. He was gone, scoring touchdowns, and Mac Jones over here throwing 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's hard to beat, man. I mean, it's Alabama. You got Nick Saban, arguably the greatest college football coach of all time. and it's just hard to beat them. And then, as much as I hate seeing Alabama in the Natty
Yes.
for the 5th time since the playoff format has started, I mean, they deserved it, bro. Like
They earned it for
yeah,
sure.
and
I mean,
they
even
had
before then, they come up. I mean,
they were
went
out there
and
doing their thing
played,
before that.
You know, I think
and they played 12 games compared to
All SEC schedule.
Yeah, I mean-
all SEC.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
tough. That's
12
a tough
Yeah, I
games.
mean that's the hardest
Except for
schedule
Notre
in
Dame.
college football.
Hey.
Don't even get
he's
started.
not wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like Tennessee. You know, that was them playing Tennessee, just clapping cheeks.
yeah.
You know, with Notre Dame. But other than that, I mean, their competition is stiff competition. Some of the best in college football. And then you got Ohio State over here. I mean, they're 7-0. I mean, they didn't play nowhere near as many games, so they were probably arguably more fresh
Yeah.
than Alabama. But Alabama was like, nah, bro, we do this every year.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't nothing. So we're gonna go out of here. We're gonna bend you over, and we're gonna take you to town. And that's exactly what happened.
they're gonna
There's just
show
no other
them
way to
Natty.
put it. So
I think the biggest thing the biggest question mark in my mind is Ohio State fresher than Alabama because they've only played 7 games.
Justin Fields wasn't. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah,
he
like
was
that
playing
was-
through a hip pointer.
Yeah, I mean that was my biggest question. I mean, and all through the first quarter, I was like, "Holy cow, this is going to be a slugfest." I mean, it's going to be someone's going to get a turnover and kick a field goal, and that's going to be it. You know, they won't be able to come back. And then, God, especially coming out of the second half, I mean, Alabama just turned it on. They put on a clinic. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Just watching the game, I think the biggest thing, and the reason I enjoyed the Clemson and Ohio State game so much is because Fields took that game personally. You know, like I was saying last week, he's been second to Trevor Lawrence for so long and all that, and he's you know, he's always been the guy that's kind of overlooked because of Trevor Lawrence, and he's a very talented quarterback. And based on the last time that they played, you know, he took it personally and wanted to come out there and show him what he's made of. And he got pissed off, fired up, and took over that game and made it happen. I just don't think he had the same drive when it came to the Alabama game. And I think that was a huge impact on how that game went.
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily just he didn't have enough drive. It was probably because he's never played against that level of competition. I mean, I hate doing this to the Big Ten. And, you know, all the, you know, that Michigan and Michigan State and Ohio State, they play those guys every
I wouldn't say
year.
he's not played against that competition. He played against the Clemson team that won the national
Yeah,
championship.
it's true. I mean,
Yeah, he's been on that
Yeah.
stage before. I don't
Clemson
think
was
that had
shoddy
to do
this
it.
year, though. They
Clemson
didn't look like
was.
they didn't look
Clemson
like
was.
past Clemson teams that
Yeah.
we've seen.
But to the point he was making, that past Clemson team that we had seen, the one that sweeped everyone, it sweeped Ohio State. You know, that was one of the teams that got beat was Justin Fields' Buckeyes that one year.
So it was all extremely interesting to see, and I think again there was a lot of question marks going into that game, especially with how many games either team has played. But I mean, Alabama's going to be Alabama, and they're going to come out there and play. And so, congrats to them. They have earned it 100% wholeheartedly. And as a Tennessee fan, it sucks to say that, but I hate Florida more. So
Well, thanks.
yeah, you can suck it, Logan. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we are joined by Hamilton of the Chatting with Ham podcast. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I love being on here, talking with you guys. Haven't talked to y'all for a while.
Yeah, man, it's
I
been a
know
minute.
Kalen and Big Sack. Who's the third guy there?
Yeah,
Yeah, we got Bryson and Logan.
Bryson
here.
and Logan.
Bryson and Logan. What's good, guys?
Howdy.
All right, so brother, national championship. You're on cloud 9 again. So let me ask you this: what was, from an Alabama fan standpoint, what was your thought process going into this game, and how did you think it was going to go?
You know, I knew you were going to ask me this, which is funny. So I thought I was taking a shower in the dump, and I was thinking about it. I was like, what am I going to say? You know, when they thumped Clemson, that was a big, you know, shock, I think. But, I mean, we can go into the, you know, advantages, maybe Ohio State not playing a full season. You know, I don't want to put that solely on Clemson, but I don't know. I was honestly surprised. I thought Bama would maybe win by 7 or 14. Not about 28 points. Just an absolute dominant blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, with 3 Heisman finalists on your team, all on your offense, when Mac Jones and Najee Harris and Devontae Smith, I mean, looking back at it, I can't say that I'm surprised because I just had a feeling that those guys were going to get going eventually. Because it looked like it was going to be a good game at first, but then they just kind of figured it out, as Alabama always does. So, I mean,
yeah, I agree with that. I thought that Ohio State's defensive line, which, Najee Harris, I was watching him talk about it. One of the reporters was saying, like, how was it so effortless for you? And he just, like, stopped him and said, like, what do you mean? They were blowing him up the whole time, I mean, he got hit several times behind the line and still managed to get 5-6 yard gains, which is crazy. But I thought, honestly, that Ohio State's defensive line would have a bigger impact. And I think that's when Sarkisian, the brilliant offensive mind that he is, you saw a lot of, like, bubble screens, a lot of dump passes. I don't know whatever play they were doing when Devontae or Najee would run to the side of the quarterback and then run back out the same way they were coming from and go for a touchdown. I don't even know what that's called, but I think that really threw off the defense. And I honestly don't know how they couldn't stop it the whole time.
I think really you make a good point there. They really took advantage of Ohio State's defense being soft. They were so worried about getting beat deep by Devontae and getting torched by them on deep routes that they were willing to give them all that underneath. And, a lot of teams would try and trick around until they could get that deep ball. But really that Alabama offense said, well, if you're going to give us the underneath all day, we're going to let our players make plays and get that extra yardage. And they really just ate up that Ohio State defense. That Ohio State defense was so scared they weren't willing to play football like Alabama was. So I think that's a good point, Ham.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even when they went deep, they had a freaking linebacker covering Devontae Smith. Like,
that's not going to get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all.
Exactly. Well, hey, let me ask you this. I'm more of an NFL-minded guy anyway. I like the NFL more. What are your thoughts going into the draft as far as those 3, 3 Heisman finalists? Where do you think that they'll even make it out of the first round? I guess
all 3 of those Heisman finalists.
Yeah, I think who was it? Mac Jones, Devontae
Smith, and
Najee Harris. Do you see any of them falling out of the first round at all?
If anybody, I'd say Mac Jones maybe. But I think if lower than the first round, he'd probably go early second round. Mm-hmm. But I think that if he's put in a good system, and that's what you see with a lot of quarterbacks, and it's obvious. Like Darnold, I mean, he wasn't terrible in college. I mean, he just went to a sucky team with sucky coaches, and I don't know if he goes late first round. I mean, he can get picked up by the Colts or somebody, which would be a pretty nice fit for him because they love the pocket passer up there. I mean, yeah, I know they got Jacob Eason, and who knows about Phil Rivers if he's coming back or not, but it'd be interesting to see where Najee goes. I think Devontae, unless Miami does something crazy with Tua, I think Devontae is going to meet up with Tua in Miami.
Because they were the third pick.
Yeah, they could use them.
What was that?
I was just saying that they were the third pick. They got that from Houston. So.
Yeah, they did get it from Houston. But what I'm saying, if this thing with Tua goes, I don't know. I mean, we don't know.
Which Miami would be dumb to trade him. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it's his first season.
I know Deshaun's good. I mean, he is. Obviously, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He led the league in passing this year with throwing yards, whatever yardage. But I don't know. I mean, you can't just go off of his few games. I mean, he man didn't turn the ball over a lot by throwing it deep. I mean, I mean, he's not 100%. I don't know who I was listening to, but it may have been the Pat McAfee show. They were talking. Some guy called in, or somebody was talking about I think he's scared because he broke his hip, but he's not throwing with his legs really. He's like off of his legs and not using his legs. So I don't know if that's something that's gonna prolong, but I don't think you should trade a guy away, especially when you have a couple other. I don't know what they have. Like they had third pick in the 15th or 10th pick, something like that.
I know that they have the third pick for sure, and then wherever they ended up. And I mean, they were in the race to go to the playoffs. Everyone
Go have the third pick. Yeah.
I mean, Miami was in the race to go to the playoffs, for sure. I think it was if they beat the Bills. They would.
Yeah, not happening.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought that they were going to beat them just on the sole fact of I thought the Bills were going to rest their guys, but obviously they didn't, and it was it was a slaughter fest out there. But I think that's right. Do you see? Is it Najee Harris as a wide receiver? Do you think he could fall?
Devontae Smith.
Running back.
Okay, Devontae Smith. Do you see him? I don't keep up with Alabama football.
Devontae Smith is a Devontae Smith is a wide receiver. Najee Harris is a running back.
Okay. So, do you see him falling out of the top 5?
Who? Najee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him top 5. I see him first round, but I don't see top 5 there.
I mean, I think he could potentially be a top 5 player. I mean,
I agree. He's definitely got that potential and that skill. The only thing is, he in a sense, he almost had a quiet year this year. He's definitely dominant for sure.
Touchdowns. I mean that's.
Go ahead.
I guess he had a quiet year just because everything was on Devontae.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Devontae and the quarterback, Mac Jones, is that his name? Devontae and Mac Jones had such a blowout year that almost even a stellar player such as him is going to seem quiet. I really thought this was going to be the year Najee went absolutely off, but I didn't know that the quarterback and wide receiver play was going to be so great.
I don't know how NFL people think, but whenever some of these SEC backs come out, they're overworked pretty much. Like Trent Richardson, he pretty much just was a dud in NFL after 1 year, and they talk about they're overworked, playing the SEC schedule, and I think that probably helps out Najee because I mean, yeah, he was used a good bit. I mean, he wasn't beat up ever. I don't know. I think he was there 4 years. Yeah, he wasn't beat up any of these years and wasn't overly used. But I mean, I think he still had a great year. He had over 1,200 yards rushing, maybe, or. He had over 1,000. I know that. He didn't have as many receiving touchdowns this year as last year. I think he's probably, sneaky one of the best receiving running backs too. Because I mean, he's pretty solid out of that backfield. But another thing I was thinking of was Devontae. Obviously, Devontae Smith took a lot of the spot. Not that he took all of his spotlight away. Obviously, won the Heisman, but I honestly think if Jalen Waddle was healthy the whole year, I don't think Devontae Smith would have won the Heisman because Mac is going to be probably splitting those throws, I would say. I mean, even when Jalen Waddle got in this past week in the championship game, he had 2 catches for like 20 yards, So, I mean, it's hard to say about Najee. I think he's top 15 for sure. I mean, just looking at the draft order here, I mean, Denver, obviously, it looks like they may go quarterback. Dallas,
yeah, we need it.
Giants may. You never know. And then Miami, looking at it now, Miami has the number 12 pick. So they could get Devontae and Najee, but the Dolphins do have a pretty good backfield as it is right now.
Let me ask you this, Hamilton. If you had to compare this year's Alabama National Championship winning team and last year's LSU National Championship winning team, if you had to pick which one is the better team overall, not talking about NFL, not talking about anything, talking strictly college football, if you had to pick one of the two, who do you think would win the game?
That is, I mean, obviously, I am a biased fan, but I'm not like a bullcrap
He's not stuck up.
When we got beat by Clemson a couple of years ago, yeah, we got throttled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when Tua threw that pick six, or I just think I can't remember the first drive of the game. I was like, oh crap, this may not be good. But I mean, other than that, I think they just get overplayed. But I don't know. Joe Burrow is. I honestly I think he just had that special year. I mean, I'm not saying he's not bad, but Bama stomped on him his first year at LSU. So I don't know. I think it may have been the people around him. Maybe just because what's his name, Joe Brady, right, the offensive coordinator, put him in that special, offense, whatever he's running, NFL type offense. I mean, obviously he's NFL now, and he's probably going to get a head coach job somewhere. But we're just talking about offense or overall.
We're talking just straight overall. If they played
each other, who comes out on top?
I honestly think just because I think Bama's defense last year was terrible, and this year wasn't great, but it was way better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bama probably would have beat them. It may have been a big time, points game, but I think Bama would probably beat them with just the talent they had everywhere, and Jalen Waddle was healthy as well. I don't think they lose to them because Bama's defense was better than LSU's defense last year. That's just
every single one of those starters went to the NFL.
Yeah,
I don't know that we can argue that. I mean, that LSU team was something special and something college football hasn't seen, and probably won't see something quite like that again. And Alabama, though they're a factory for NFL, caliber players and everything like that, I don't know. I think it'd be a great game. I just don't know that they can hang with that LSU team. That LSU team was something special.
The Alabama players going NFL this year that did this year. And I mean, they played a full SEC schedule.
They played a full SEC schedule, but I doubt it's every starter on defense like it was with that LSU team.
On defense, are you talking about everyone gone?
Offense and defense.
Or offense?
All 22 starters from that LSU team went in the NFL draft and got drafted. Every single one of them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Bama does that every year,
No, they don't.
Not the whole squad.
Not the whole squad. Not like
it's
that
every
LSU
year
team.
they're generating that NFL caliber talent, as to where LSU, this year, the fall off that they had this year.
That was a shame.
Because everyone left.
Bama every year, and coaches are leaving, just like LSU, and they still put up 10 to 14 wins a year and make it to a playoff game. I mean,
I know, and that's why this is hypothetical. That's why we're talking about that exact team versus this exact team now.
I think it's probably pretty evenly matched because the stats in between them two for both years is very close. Points and yardages and points a game, whatever. I don't know. Just being a Bama fan, I think Bama this year probably would have beat them. Because,
but
it's like I think Tua was a better college quarterback than Joe Burrow than his 1 year. Yeah, of course. Joe Burrow had one good year. Tua was throwing 40 touchdowns every year he was starting. So, I don't know.
But it's all hypothetical. It'll never happen. But with like Nick Saban, I'm pretty sure he said this one time. I'm just paraphrasing, but it was like, when he's like, why would I want to go back to the NFL where it's like if you get punished in the draft for doing good when every year you can win a national championship and then get even more NFL caliber talent the next year. So, it's really a matter of that. Alabama, they're just so good at recruiting, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah, recruiting is big time down there. That's why I think Clemson has been so good for not so long, but the last 8 to 10 years, they've been really good because they just have that culture of family up there. They just have fun, and kids want to go there. People want to go to Alabama because hey, we're going to win a championship, and they will probably get drafted. At least if you've played for 2 years at Bama, you're getting drafted. There's no doubt in your mind that you're not going to get drafted unless you get hurt or something. But I think that's how Clemson has gotten good this fast because this, Dabo Swinney bringing his culture and kids want to go there and have fun. I mean, living there, I honestly, if I had a choice between Bama and go to Bama or Clemson, it'd be hard, even though I want to be at Alabama, but just how they run things over there is pretty cool.
Right. Alrighty, man. Well, we're gonna let you go here. You want to tell anybody about your podcast and what it's all about?
I have one podcast up right now. It's on YouTube, Chatting with Ham. I'm hopefully going to start getting back more into it. It's been over probably like 10 months since I've done it. It's been a while.
Got to get back into it, bro.
But I put some gameplay up, but I kind of want to get back into talking.
Follow him on Twitch.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah, brother. Alrighty, man. Well, thank you for coming on and talking with us, bro. It's been fun.
All right, heck yeah. Thank y'all for having me. See you guys later.
Yeah, man. We'll have you back on at some point.
Heck yeah. I'm down for whenever you want someone to come talk some bull crap with you guys.
Alrighty, bro. You have a good one, brother.
All right, y'all too. See you.
Deuces. All right. Well, you got a little insight from a Bama fan there.
Not that you wanted to hear it, but
Yeah, that's
there it is.
Yeah, Hamilton. He's my cousin. I grew up with the guy. He's very close in age with all of us as well, and super solid guy. Lives down in Florida. Again, shout out to you, Ham. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Seriously.
brother. It was fun. So we're gonna shift gears here. Isaac, you got a little
Alrighty.
something for us, brother?
So we're going to go into a little segment. Now, when we first did this show, it was called The Locker Room, and then we found out on ESPN that they have a show called The Locker Room.
And then they went to
And then it
Down to
went-
the Wire,
went to-
and then that was just a mouthful.
Yeah, it was Down to the
And-
Wire. And we did that on the Chattanooga State's radio show, or the radio line or program that they got out there, the station.
With all
that
the
they got out there.
restrictions and everything.
With all the restrictions.
Fuck them.
Yeah, and now that we're just open to
Just
whatever, we're getting
Go
right
Tigers.
into it. So I'm gonna kind of bring it. Yeah. Hey, go Jack.
Go Tigers.
Ed Orgeron. We're gonna go to a segment that I kind of came up, but not really come up with, but something that I like to do, kind of switch gears, and we love talking about sports, and that's what this whole podcast and everything is about. And so just kind of, I guess, to kind of get you to know how we are as people, I always like to do like a would you rather or like a debatable topic type deal, a little segment, and so this is gonna be it. We're gonna go with pancakes or waffles. Which one is
The
better?
age-old classic.
And I will go ahead and give you mine. I think pancakes are 100% superior to waffles.
I'm a lineman coach.
I think pancakes are so much better than waffles. I feel like waffles is just glorified toast at some point. To be honest with you. Now, and I will say this: Waffle House waffles are really good, but I look at them as pancakes with grill marks. Okay, those things are fluffy and they're good, but I think that pancakes are the superior breakfast food over waffles. We're not going to get into French toast or bagels or anything like that. We're just going strictly pancakes
All right,
and waffles.
let me tell you why you're wrong.
Pancakes for me.
Let me tell you why you're wrong, okay?
In other words,
Waffles.
he's gonna say why he's dumb.
No. Waffles, okay?
No.
Now, picture it. A big old waffle with the crevices and everything. Wait,
What as opposed to a waffle without all the little divots in it?
hold on. Now you got waitress bringing you syrup. It is beautiful, delicious.
Because
Make
that
the
doesn't
syrup.
happen when you get a
Well, hold on.
pancake.
Hold on.
Yeah, we'll let them
I don't wanna.
Now you,
'Cause
you
you're
take the
wrong.
syrup and you just douse that bitch in syrup. And but the good thing about it is with all those crevices, the syrup just sits there, doesn't dribble off. Put a little dab of butter on that bitch. Get your fork and you just dig in. But guess what? When you dig in, you still got all that syrup just sitting there waiting for you.
Do you
calling
struggle to aim with your syrup when you're eating pancakes?
That's beside the point.
We figured it out. So,
Exposed.
so I'll say this.
Oh, what was I doing?
Are you done?
You have yet to make
I mean,
a
I was
valid
done,
argument.
Oh, okay.
but you didn't even
Everything,
ask.
everything
Yeah.
you said that was a plus for the waffle is something you can just do with a
Yeah.
pancake.
The only difference between that when you pour syrup on it is the pancake soaks up that syrup. Okay, it makes
yeah.
it
Do
good,
the
and it makes it
Not as well.
Yeah, it makes it not as messy. Okay, that's a huge issue or big time problem. Okay,
I like to get messy when I eat.
Yeah,
I can tell it's in your beard right now.
Flavor saver.
just little drip action in the beard.
No.
But yeah, pancakes are better. I'll say this: if you go on Google right now, and people that are listening, I know there's not a ton of y'all, but go on the Google right now and look up cool pancakes. Okay, you're gonna get 1,287 pages of images of cool pancake designs.
Do you have?
Hang on. Yes, I have proof of this.
Make sure to delete
Now,
your history.
yeah,
after you do
go on.
that.
Yeah. So if you go on there and look up cool waffle designs,
There's
you know,
nothing.
there is
You're
a-
gonna
there is a-
find the cool waffle maker that makes waffles in a cool shape.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen those artists that do all the crazy cool pancakes and
Exactly.
flip them? That
Yeah.
you can't do that
want-
with a waffle.
And you want to know
Man,
what you will find?
They
if
just do
you-
that for clicks,
No,
bro.
here
That's
you want to
all
know
it
what
is.
you want to know what you will find if you look up cool waffle designs on Google. It is a meme of an Eggo waffle with stick legs and stick arms and a hard hat. I believe he's with a gun as well, and it says something about war or something like
Is it
that.
a blue waffle?
No, it's not a blue waffle. It is a regular traditional
Look at that,
Eggo
dude.
waffle.
They got a Millennium Falcon. A Millennium.
Yeah, but you have to
Falcon.
go and you have to go buy that.
You have to buy a
Yeah, you
whole
know what
waffle
you-
maker.
yeah, you have to
whereas you
buy-
could just do that with a pancake.
Yeah, you do it with a pancake and
Idiot.
it'd be cooler.
Okay, let me ask you this: are any of you three, artistically inclined to do what those people
My
do?
sister is.
Yeah.
I will put her up to it.
No, we're not talking about
Hey,
sister. I'm
hey,
talking
you
about
want to here? I'll give you a good point. Kalen is super stingy with his money, and I'm not.
Are we gonna spend the whole time on this one question,
No,
or do
because
you
this
have
is the
others?
this is
this is
it.
the real
Yeah.
shit.
We still haven't even said our say.
This is why it's debatable. I'm gonna let y'all get in right after I say this. Kalen's super stingy with his money. You have to have pots and pans to cook your food. You have to
stingy
go
with his
out
money.
there
You know what,
and
bro?
buy.
He can't afford to go to IHOP. That's why he likes waffles.
have
He goes
to
to
bring out the
Waffle
waffles.
House.
all these waffles,
Oh
bitch.
my god.
You have to,
Delicious.
you have to go out there.
And
Yeah, they don't have.
Oh my
pancakes.
gosh! You have to go out there and buy a completely different machine to make waffles, and it's called a waffle maker. Now, if you want to get into the frozen aspects of things, sure, go by all
Look at
means.
this. I have a waffle in my hands right now.
By the way,
I'm about
Just
to
so
eat
you
it
know.
raw.
Look at this. Just picture the syrup
I know how this works, Kaylin.
just sitting there.
let me explain to you how to use a waffle.
Yeah.
Just
Dear God. Bryson, go for
No,
it. man.
I want to hear Logan.
Yeah, Logan.
Logan,
What's your
Logan, what's
opinion?
your take?
I hate both of them.
Yeah, I would say probably not as strong as you do. I gotta say I do like both. The main reason why I would go with pancakes just because of the fluffier, soft texture. I would say, you know, even Waffle House waffles aren't really waffles because they're soft. I feel like a waffle is supposed to be crunchy. That's like the main difference.
the
to
texture
me.
for
Yeah. I guess it really comes down to do you like something soft or fluffy or what? A crunchy.
I feel like whenever I eat a pancake, I'm like gonna die. I can't breathe.
You're gonna choke on it.
Yeah. Like it just clogs up my airwaves. Even though I'm asthmatic, it even makes it worse.
What does that matter?
Cause I can't breathe.
Yeah, but if it's good, it's good.
So we have found out today, Kalen prefers waffles because he, as a child, choked on a pancake and almost didn't make it out of the IHOP with
Traumatic
his parents.
experience. Hey, man.
That's it. He almost died as a kid choking on a pancake. And now he's like, I can't do it. I like
At
waffles.
least it's not a blue waffle.
Red pancake.
Delish. Yeah, no, I'm taking pancakes.
We
I
got
mean,
pancakes. We got waffles. We got pancakes. Logan, you make or break it.
Yeah, I already said
He
that.
already said pancakes. Are you not
Oh.
paying attention? He went before me.
You're the host of the show, Kaylin.
You suck at your job.
You have
I don't
one
get
job
paid
to
for this
pay
shit.
You still suck. That's why you don't
Probably
get
shouldn't.
paid.
So hey, it's 3-1 pancakes over waffles. Pancakes are superior. Kalen's an idiot.
I would like to see if there's a pancake versus waffle like mass vote on the internet. and see who, See who won that.
That was it?
That's it.
That was it.
Okay.
It's debatable.
Well, that was great. All right, moving on.
I'm a little underwhelmed. I wanted more questions.
Okay.
You gotta save them for next week, dog. I got you 2 next week.
Shit, I'm just gonna come up with one
Isaac's
stat
brain
for
can only
next
handle
week.
one question.
One simple-minded.
He's gonna walk in. And he's gonna be like, I didn't prepare. Cheetos or spicy Cheetos?
Flamin' hot Cheetos or Cheetos puffs? Flamin' hot Cheetos all day, baby.
Oh, good God.
If you say otherwise, you're wrong. I mean, okay. Isaac, are you done? There it is.
Daddy's done.
Okay. All right, moving on.
We got the divisional round.
Divisional round preview. Oh, we're gonna keep this kind of short.
Wait.
Let's not delve deep into this.
I'm going.
Let's just get
going
right into it.
deep.
All right, Ravens.
I'm going in deep right now.
Ravens versus Bills.
Big trust. Give me the Ravens.
oh my
Let's
God.
go.
Bigger shock.
Let's go.
More shocker than the pancakes.
All right, Bryson's got. Let's see.
Big
Ravens,
trust.
Bills.
Give me Lamar.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want the over/under and everything for this game?
I don't need it.
Okay.
You don't.
I'll give it to
I don't
you
need
anyway. Bills are the Bills are 2.5-point favorites. The over/under is 49.5 points. This is for betting, and the money line on them is -142, which means if you were to bet like $2 on it, you'd probably could win like $1.60, something like that.
Or I'll take the Ravens and just come out on top because they're gonna win.
Okay. Good deal. Kalen, you want to go into anything you
All
want
right,
to say?
Really.
dude, this is a tough one.
Nah.
All right, shut up.
Nah.
It's my time.
Big trust.
One correct answer.
God, man.
This isn't tough.
One right.
You want me to go? What do you
I'm
think?
just gonna go. I don't know, bro.
Here, I'll go ahead and go. While
Yeah, you
think
go.
about
I
it.
gotta think about this.
I think, and this is no knock on the Ravens or anything like that, but they do have to come through Buffalo. They have to go there. And I know that they went to the Titans and played, but playing the Titans and playing Buffalo are 2 completely different teams.
Yeah, the Titans are a harder team.
That's on defensive side of the ball. I'm not going to agree with
I
you.
feel like the Bills are same level as Titans defensively.
You think so?
Yeah,
You really think so?
yeah.
Well, who knows? I think
At
that.
least from what I saw this past weekend.
I mean, I think that it'll be an interesting game. It'll be a very close game, and I think I'm gonna take the Bills on this one
All
for
right,
sure.
Isaac's got the Bills. All right, I made up my mind.
We got to see if Lamar
I'm going
shows
with
up or not.
Ravens.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I feel like Lamar, I feel like he's figured it out in terms of. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout or anything, but I feel like they're going to go out there and do what needs to be done to win the game. Doesn't have to be a blowout. They're going to go out there, take care of business, go home. We'll see ya. Logan.
I'm pretty sure it'll be a really close game as well. But I would have to give it slightly to the Bills. I feel like they've had such a great season, a great team offensively as well, and it's going to be at Buffalo, which they had fans at for the first time in the season, I believe, in last week's playoff game. And we all know how great the Buffalo Bills fans are.
Yeah.
Bills Mafia. I'm pretty sure some
been
dude
waiting.
broke his leg through a table this past weekend. I saw the video. It was great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He literally went feet first into the table. That was your first mistake, bro.
Yeah, you take out the shoulder.
Have you not watched wrestling?
Yeah, have you never watched WWF? I mean,
Are you
come
even
on,
Bills
dude.
Mafia, bro?
Yeah.
I'm a Broncos fan, and I know that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, at least we got a 2-2 choice.
All right,
That's
all
the
right.
first one so far.
So, moving on. Browns versus Kansas City.
Oh, yes.
I'm going Browns.
Wow, that's wild.
I'm going
Logan.
Browns. I'm feeling frisky.
Okay.
I don't think the Browns get it this time.
Okay.
Reason being, we've got a rested Kansas City team, arguably probably the best well-rounded team in the league right now.
Sometimes that bye week.
Yeah, are they two?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's a team that comes in sharp, ready to play almost every time. I think it's a time of rest, a time of focus. They've been watching this Browns team. They know what they're up against. I think they're ready to go. I think the big thing you see here is take away those turnovers in that Browns game. Steelers come back and win that game. They came back and won it if they didn't have those 4 freaking interceptions. Patrick Mahomes isn't going to come out and throw 4 interceptions like Ben Roethlisberger did. So you take the turnovers out of that game, and the Steelers are the ones playing the Kansas City Chiefs right now. And I think due to that fact, Kansas City is the more polished team, so they get the win.
All right, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like logically you would say the Chiefs, just based off of defending Super Bowl champs. Patrick Mahomes. I'm getting there. But I'm going to say the Browns.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
wow.
Waiting a long time for the season like this. You know, I don't know if a lot of people said they'd have lost last week, but probably more like 50-50. Came out absolutely firing. Like we said when we were watching, like maybe you'd have said the Browns to win, but you'd have never guessed they'd have done it in that fashion.
Not that way,
Yeah, no one expecting that.
I mean, if they come out with a 28-0 run like that, I mean, the only thing you can say about that game is that they did let them come back a little bit. You know,
Quite a bit.
which isn't good. I mean, you got to make sure you finish.
You can't do that against the Chiefs.
No.
Yeah, you got to be solid.
Because we saw what they did last year.
But yeah, I don't know what the status is of any Browns players or the head coach coming back, but you know we saw that they made it work anyways, and I just feel like the Browns just have a really good momentum going. You know, the franchise as a whole has been waiting a long time for a season like this, and I just felt like they can pull it off. So I would go with the Browns.
Hell yeah.
I wonder if they get complacent. I'm really curious to see how they look coming out next week because, like you were saying earlier, they won their Super Bowl. They got their playoff win. Are they satisfied or do they want more? And I'm curious to see how they handle that.
Browns fans are.
Browns fans are.
Not.
I don't know.
I don't think Baker Mayfield is.
No, hell no.
Well,
Shake and bake.
Bring it home, Dad.
so it's 2-1 Browns. Just kind of looking at the bet odds, and I've already placed my bets. So I'm just gonna let you know that.
money on this.
Chiefs are 10-point favorites. The over/under is 57 points. Now, I did take the Browns plus 10. Okay, I don't think the Browns get beat by more than 10 points.
Yeah, that's good.
But I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. And there's 2 conflicting arguments that I got going on in my head is, is the bye week, that rest week they have, will that help them, bumps and bruises and stuff like that? Yes, that'll 100% help them out. But they, just like every other team going into this week, they didn't know who they were going to play until Sunday night. You know what I mean? So it's not like people were sitting there going, well, they've had 2 weeks to practice on the Browns. I mean, we don't know.
Well, they knew it was Browns or Steelers.
Yeah. So I think if I was in that organization, and Andy Reid is on a completely different planet than me, but I'm sitting there thinking I'm going to sit there and I'm going to focus on us, and we're going to go to practice every day, and we're going to do what we do, and we're going to make sure that we do it to perfection. That would be my thing. And then going into this week, it's all game prep at that point. I believe this game's on Saturday, correct?
No, that's on Sunday.
This one's on Sunday?
Sunday at 3:05 p.m.
Yeah.
Ravens and Bills
3:05
on Saturday.
Eastern time. So, yeah, I think I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs, going off of what Bryson said. That's a team that'll come out there and fires on all cylinders. They are the number 1 seed for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
That's a solid team. Do I think what happened with the Browns is a fluke? Not necessarily. I think that, the Steelers were on a downward slope anyway, but I'm taking the Chiefs. So 2-2 on that game.
All right, so we're split down the middle again on that one.
Oh, yeah. And now we head to
Love
the
to
NFC.
see
So we got Rams versus Green Bay.
Wow.
Okay, I know I voted against the Rams last week, but this one I'm going against them, and I am about 95% sure that Green Bay is going to come out with this one. I mean, they got the league MVP. I know it hasn't been announced yet, but league MVP Aaron Rodgers been balling this season. They have him, Devontae Adams. That defense has been playing great. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be too much for the Rams to handle.
Okay. Logan?
Yep, I agree with you on that. Like I said, you feel kind of bad if the Rams won again and proved us wrong twice. But there you go. There's your motivation. But anyways, the Packers.
I know you're listening.
Packers #1 seed.
Aaron Donald's just fuming in a locker room.
He's just sitting
slamming
there
his head like,
crying.
you
Yeah.
freaking idiots.
So I think you got to go with the Packers. Jared Goff is still probably not going to be 100%. Aaron Donald went off hurt at one point. I don't know what his status is. And then also saw where the Cooper Kupp wide receiver, probably the best wide receiver on the team, left and went back to the locker room.
Yep.
So, the Rams at 100% probably still wouldn't beat the Packers. But if they're dealing with injuries to probably 3 of their best
I
players,
mean, hell,
it's
we said
a really
the
long
same
shot.
about the Browns.
Yeah.
Look what happened. I mean, any given Sunday.
Or Saturday.
Maybe Saturday.
It's actually Saturday.
It's actually Saturday. You looked at it and said Sunday, even though it says Saturday right there in front of your face.
I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, at
Yeah, buddy.
3:30
And you wrote it,
at
too.
4:35.
Saturday.
At 4:35 Eastern time.
Yeah, this guy's supposed to be our leader.
Yeah, unbelievable. I'll say this. I'm sorry, you done? I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. The Packers are 6.5-point favorites. Over/unders 45.5.
Dude, I would take that spread.
Oh yeah, I'm taking
Big time.
the Packers -6.5, 100%.
Yeah.
I have one question. Because I know where you're going with
Yeah,
this.
'cause I got
I
some.
just want to know, how's the Packers' run game?
I'm not exactly too sure.
Because what he's about to tell
Yeah.
you is that Adams is about to be kind of negated
Yeah.
in this game and kind of
So-
taken out of the picture. So you take Adams out, what are you left with?
So this is off of BR Gridiron, which is Bleacher Report.
Yes.
And it says wide receivers when guarded by Jalen Ramsey this season. Okay. Amari Cooper, week 1, 7 catches for 57 yards. Stephon Diggs, week 3, 1 catch, 4 yards and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin, I believe that's how you say it.
McLaurin, yeah.
Yeah. Week 5, 0 catches, 0 yards. Allen Robertson, week 7, 1 catch for 42 yards.
Give me
Mike
the DJ.
Evans, week 11, 4 catches for 40 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, arguably the best wide receiver in the game, week 13 and 17, 5 catches, 48 yards.
Combined?
Pretty sure it's combined. Here's a big one. DK Metcalf, weeks 10 and 16, and in the Wildcard game, 4 catches, 44 yards. So
that guy
someone's
takes
getting
that-
out. Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see. Jalen Ramsey, I was huge doubter, wasn't a huge fan of him because he went to the Pro Bowl as a as a return specialist and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how that all goes. But I think the Packers are too good. I think the Packers are a team that will go out there and show you what's going on. So I'm gonna take the Packers -6.5. I think the Packers defense is gonna impose their will on the Rams offense.
I don't know, because you take Adams out, and I just don't know what those Packers are left with. And if you do that, I don't know that the Rams offense has enough to mount a win, but also I don't know that the Packers have enough without Adams. I'm really torn there. And you know me, I like to choose the underdog, even though I shouldn't have chose it, 5 other times last week.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna stick with the Packers. If the Rams prove us all wrong again, holy heck!
Yeah.
I'm done at that
I'll
point.
say at that point, if they
Rams
go to
for the Super Bowl.
yeah, if
they
they
lose
go
twice.
if they go to the NFC Championship, oh my gosh! Picture this. Okay, this is kind of go down a rabbit hole, but just imagine if the Rams go to the NFC Championship game and the Saints were somehow to win. That's a rematch. That's a rematch. And you remember what happened that game?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the huge pass interference call that wasn't called.
Bullshit.
So, yeah, 100%.
If this Rams team wins again, proves us all wrong, and goes out and beats Green Bay, I'm not picking against them again.
yeah, I'll say that.
Like next week, we all pick the Rams,
Yeah.
and then they finally lose in the NFC Championship.
Gotcha. So, going into the last game, 6:40 Eastern time. I believe this is Sunday as well.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Yep.
It is the Buccaneers Saints game. Kind of give you a little bit of this, but Saints are Buccaneers are 3-point underdogs.
Okay.
The over/under is 52, and the money line for the Buccaneers is plus 142, and the money line for the Saints is minus 168. So I'll give you all that.
Okay.
Kalen, thoughts on that?
So, like I said earlier, I mean,
Post P thoughts. He's recollecting himself.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, the Washington football team, they pretty much showed that the Bucs were human. I mean, they came out there with a backup quarterback, and they were able to hang around for that game. And comparing apples to oranges here, I mean, you got Washington's offense compared to literally Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. You got all these superstars on this offense, this high caliber offense. I mean, the Bucs are going to have a hard time. Yeah, and Taysom Hill. I mean, he can do
what
anything.
you forget about. He'll come in all over the place.
He's going to be a factor. They're going to use him a lot. And so I feel like the Saints are going to be out there, and it might be a close game. It might be a blowout. Who knows? But, again, Tom Brady's on that team, so I doubt he's going to make it a blowout.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm going to have to go with the Saints on this one.
Good
I feel like the Bucs, this isn't their year. They might get things more figured out and polished up next season, but as far as this year goes, I got the Saints winning this one.
Yep. I'm gonna ride with you, and I'm gonna say Saints too. I'm gonna think Breeze gets it done. Really, it's been interesting to see what Tom Brady did over there at the Bucs. Brought a bunch of his old buddies and pals and made that team his own and really built it up into something that, if you look at the players on that Bucs offense and you just wonder how they're not, heavily more favored and have won more games this year. I really think it's going to be a good game. Whenever Breeze and Brady take the field against each other, it's always just a really cool matchup. You're looking at two future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, two of the best to ever play the game.
First ballot.
Oh, yeah, going against each other. And it's always a really cool thing. I think we see in the end, I think the Saints pull away by like 2 or 3 scores. I think maybe that first half, they kind of stay with each other. I think there's some adjustments at halftime. I think the Saints come out. I think we might see them take a score and go up by 1 score going into the half, and then say they come out and they get the ball again in the second half, then they go up by 2 scores. They start riding some momentum, and I think they pull away. Again, that you keep going back to the Washington football team showing the Bucs' weaknesses on defense, and the Saints are watching every bit of that film. And if Heineke can pick that defense apart, Breeze can go in there and demolish it.
100%.
So I think they run into too many issues with that Saints offense. I think Saints defense gets stops where Bucs defense can't. I think you see the Saints win that one by a handy margin at the end.
Yeah, I mean, of the 4 games, I feel like that's the matchup I'm most excited about. I mean, obviously, like you said, just Tom Brady versus Drew Brees is always going to be a massive matchup, especially coming toward the tail end of their careers.
Oh, yeah. Like, this is one of the last times we're going to get to watch
Yes.
these guys go head-to-head,
I mean, and there's obviously more to it than that. I mean, Tom Brady's trying to prove that he can win with a different team, which is huge for him. I mean, regardless of how it goes, he's still going to be known as one of the best. But if he can do this with a different team, it's going to add a lot to him, I think.
Oh, for
And-
sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, Drew Brees coming off of, sort of really unfortunate playoff losses with calls and stuff. He's trying to get back there. He's, obviously not got many years left as well. I mean, that's up to him.
It's been alluded that this might be his last hurrah, regardless if they win or lose. So,
Yeah, I mean, so it's really just, it's the matchups, it's the storylines behind it, seeing what the Buccaneers can do in their first season. But I'm going to go with the Saints, and I don't think it would be extremely close. I'd say probably like 7 to 10 point win for the Saints. That Saints team has been together for a few years. Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara. This Buccaneers team was just put together, and the chemistry isn't going to be there. That's a lot of times
point.
people don't think about that because you can't see it on the stat sheet or whatever. But players are going to take a while to gel together. I mean, obviously Gronkowski's still there, which he has, great experience with and stuff. But aside from that, it's learning new receivers, a whole new O-line. Tom Brady's with his, only other team he's been with in his whole career, and you're used to a system or whatever. Even if, Bruce Arians is a great coach, which I know you would agree with for
100%.
sure, Isaac. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints. I just feel like, the chemistry, the Saints, I just have to go with the Saints. I'll probably go with that spread too. It's good.
I will say this, looking back at some of the games when they played earlier in the year, because the Buccaneers and Saints are in the same division. Saints won the first time they met, I believe it was in week 1. Saints won 34-23. Okay? Then, I can't give you the exact week, but they met later on in the season, and the Saints won again, 38-3. Won by 35 points.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
So, and I will also say this. I think that this is the matchup that everyone thought was going to happen in Super Bowl 53. I think this was the matchup that everyone was thinking that was going to happen.
It should have happened.
Yeah, it should have happened. Drew Brees goes in there and plays the Saints down there. It was in Atlanta, correct? 53 was. I'm pretty sure it was. Down there in Atlanta, and Tom Brady's going to play with the Patriots. And I was sitting there thinking, I remember when we were watching the game, I was like, I think the Saints pull it off and win. And he wins Super Bowl 53. And Drew Brees retires. I think that's what happens. If that happened, Super Bowl 53, I think Drew Brees retired.
Yeah.
So I think that this is, like how Logan was saying with the storylines and stuff like that, that's huge. I think that's one of those things that people might not remember. The Saints were, arguably one flag away a call that should have been called away from winning a Super Bowl that year because they were unstoppable. And they've been 100%, like 100, like the refs are just against them past couple of years in the playoffs. Now, last year, I believe with the Vikings, you could kind of make a case, but I think that this is going to be a very good game. And like what Logan said, and looking at some of the stats, I think that it'll be a 10 to 14 point win for the Saints. So I'm going to take the Saints. We can all agree on that. This should be interesting. I think that for Drew Brees, that this is his last year, and Drew Brees wants to end it on a championship, just like Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Regardless if Brees doesn't win a Super Bowl this year or not, he's first ballot.
Yeah, he's been solidified. As a first ballot.
Obviously, as a competitor, you want to go out and win a championship. That's 100%. The whole goal.
End it on a high note. That's what he wants. But will he get it? That's another thing entirely.
I'll say
refs have entered the chat.
I'll say this.
Yes, no. I understand that whole ref argument. It's always funny to laugh about. But if you really start to think about it, a lot of those games, the Saints shouldn't have been close.
Yeah,
they should have won them handily. You can't put yourself in a position that the whole game can depend on one play called by the refs.
What makes me mad about it more than anything is not the fact that they lost the game. It's the fact that the refs are so incompetent half the time, and it pisses me off. And especially when you're reffing a playoff game, in a moment like that,
Until the refs are
You're
held
looking right at it, bro.
Until the refs are
Throw the
held to
flag.
some sort of accountability, there's not going to be any change. Because really, if you think about it, if a ref calls a play bad or doesn't call a penalty, there's nothing to it. If there were, I'm not saying that this would be the solution, but if there were fines or suspensions or something like that, like if you blatantly miss a call or call a play terribly. If there was some way to go to a booth review or something like that, or, when you go to booth review, why can't there be like a committee of refs upstairs and be like, oh, yeah, no, never mind, reverse that, right?
There's people in New York that talk to them, I'm pretty sure. But,
for booth reviews, they have somebody in New York look at it and review back, but you would almost think that with much can hinge on a call or a no call in certain cases. You would almost think like you could throw a challenge flag, they could look at it through video evidence and decide whether there was a penalty or not.
Yeah.
I don't understand why those things can't be challenged, you know?
And I'll say this. I think that the refs being incompetent, like how you said, Kalen, I mean, that's been a storyline for multiple years. You know,
Yeah.
And it's not like this has just come up out of the blue.
It's part of sports
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
God
and-
forbid you talk smack about him. You
Yeah.
get fined like half your
Yeah.
like savings.
And I
Jeez.
mean, when I was I was driving to my grandmother's house on Sunday, listening to the Titans game, and pregame, the Titans host, which phenomenal, by the way.
Yes.
I really do like him. He gets on there and he was like, this group of officials is the best of the best. And I was like, well, I'm happy we get that. Now, they didn't win, and I'm not going to blame that on the refs. But I'm happy that we got the best of the best. And I think the Saints need that. Maybe not necessarily need that to win,
They need
but
they need to have a ref draft for that game.
come on, like, we got to be better about some stuff. So
For sure. All right. We're going to transition into our last segment here. We got
Yes.
big old Logan. Now, I know we've been really focusing on football, but enter Logan. That's why he's here. Well, because we love him.
UFC
but
guy,
He's here to
soccer.
bring. He's here to bring an extra flavor. Trust me, guys. Once football is over, I mean, we're just in the heat of the playoffs right now, and everything going on. So trust us. We're gonna delve into some other stuff once the season is over. We're gonna try our hardest to
try
act like
hard.
we know what the hell we're talking
Once
about.
we leave football, I'm absolutely lost. Like right now, I can at least like understand a bit. Once we go to other sports and other leagues and stuff, then I'm just kind of sitting here.
yeah.
So why are you choosing that team today, Bryson? They just got a cool mascot.
Yeah.
It's the racket.
I like red. Red looks nice.
So we're
It's
gonna
my favorite
transition. We like to call this Landers Extended Cut.
Yes.
Take it away, brother.
That's cool as shit. Is that really the name of it?
Yeah.
I dig that.
If you're down with it, I'm down with
Hell
it.
yeah.
All right, yes, like Kalen said, basically this is just going to be where we talk about sports that are maybe not as much in the spotlight. So this is going to be outside of basketball and football and baseball.
Pickleball.
Yeah, there will.
Think it's
Water
Well, maybe one day.
underwater basket.
I mean, yeah, and there's hockey too, which is still considered one of the four main sports, but you know,
Which we're gonna try to get
Yeah,
into.
yeah.
At least I am.
Are
Still-
there four main sports?
yes,
Yeah,
four
football,
major
basketball,
sports
baseball,
leagues
hockey.
in America.
Oh, really?
But I do
Hockey
feel that
is-
hockey is a little bit below, but so we can
Yeah.
kind of decide on that. But anyways, first we're gonna go into some soccer. Talking Premier
The real
League
football.
in England, the original football. You know, ain't gonna, NFL ain't gonna be the only football we're watching this weekend, boys.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Premier League is in England, the soccer league there, arguably the biggest soccer league in the world, which many, many countries have their own leagues, including in America, which is MLS, which I feel like is growing a lot, so I'm excited to see that come up in the next few years. But anyways, the two teams at the top of the table, or the standings, are having a match this weekend, Sunday at 11:30. Even if you don't follow soccer, there's a good chance you probably heard of Manchester United or Liverpool. So that's the teams that are playing. It's historically a really big rivalry. And so far this season, the standings or the table, whichever one you want to call it, has been super tight, probably the most competitive I've seen it since I've been watching over the last 5 or 6 years. Yeah, so that's going to be a huge game for the rivalry and to see who the champions eventually end up winning. Because if you win, you not only get points for yourself, you're denying the other team. So it's going to be really exciting to see how that goes. And that's Sunday at 11:30. Outside of that, and I'll make sure to have more soccer stuff going on since I follow that pretty closely. Also coming up, not super immediately, but in about a month, we have the Daytona 500. Which even if you're not a big NASCAR fan like me and Kalen,
Hell
still
yeah, brother.
it's the biggest NASCAR race. Super fun. I've been to it twice, and it's always super exciting. Daytona and Talladega are my favorite races to watch just because anyone has a chance to win, and pack racing, the biggest
Yeah.
super speedways.
They call
it's just
it
a lot of fun.
the big one, which is a huge wreck that usually happens in the last 2 laps of the race. And, even if you don't even watch NASCAR, you've seen these, and it piques your interest, don't lie.
Oh, yeah.
Isaac over here can
Yeah.
attest. He only watches it for the wrecks,
Yep.
which probably most of you do. But I
Shame.
can highly implore you to go out and give it a shot. There's more to it than just turning
yes.
left.
You gotta watch them turn left.
See,
They don't even have blinkers.
It's great stuff. Chase Elliott,
Yes.
the most recent champion. That's my boy. That's the dude
Yeah.
I've been rooting for. It was Kyle Larson, but yeah.
Let's go Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, Junior, baby.
Junior. Junior.
Dale Earnhardt's dead.
So, highly recommend to check it out. All right, sorry. Continue.
yeah, like you said, Chase Elliott, defending champion. After Dale Jr. retired, a lot of his fan base sort of needed someone else, and I feel like Chase Elliott's really stepped up as sort of like the new face of NASCAR.
The son of another great
Yes,
Bill Elliott. So,
that's cool to see. I was going to say Jimmy Johnson retiring, probably the most dominant driver of the more modern era from like 2000s on, I'd say. I mean, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart as well, but I'd say he was the biggest.
hell yeah, Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon still racing, or are they retired too?
They're retired.
They're retired.
Okay, so I
Tony
literally
St-
know no one anymore.
Tony Stewart was a guy. He was with Home Depot for a while.
Yes.
Home Depot, and
Which
then he made
is-
his own racing team. And then he was number 14. Did Burger King.
Who
Bubba Boy.
drives the Viagra? Who drives the Viagra one? Is there a Viagra?
No.
one? No.
Monster.
Are there any goofy ones out there?
I mean,
Is there like a Barbie? Is there like a Barbie
they
race car?
they
or
do
something?
some interesting ones every now and then.
Yeah.
Like
There was
a
like
one
a-
race.
Maybe
deal.
watch
There
and
was like
find
a-
out,
Yeah,
Bryson.
there was like
Yeah,
a fan.
watch and find out.
No,
There's
I'm
like a-
quite all right. I'll watch it on
fan-
YouTube when they
I
wreck.
think there was a rookie that came into it a few years ago. He was like not even sponsored, and they called him the fan sponsored car. I think is what it was. It was just straight up black, and he had like the NASCAR logo on it and stuff like that. I mean, he had
Put
like
somebody's face
yeah,
on
like
it every
your-
week.
Is it Speedo? No, it's not Speedo. I'm trying to think of the tire company. It's killing-
Goodyear?
Yeah, New Year. Yeah.
Goodyear.
Yeah, Goodyear.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Yeah.
Goodyear? Yeah, New Year's.
Yeah.
No, that's not what he said.
I think that he had like those like traditional sponsors on his car, but that was like it for a while. I can't remember the guy's name. It's gonna drive me crazy. But continue.
Well, yeah, so Jimmy Johnson retiring, sort of like a changing of the reins, if you will, considering he drove for the same team as Chase Elliott, Hendrick Motorsports.
Put some New Year's on my
Yeah.
truck.
You said it.
No, you did.
No, he said New
No,
Year.
he said Goodyear, and then you went, "Oh, New Year."
Oh,
That's what was
did
so
I? Oh,
funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
God, you're dumb.
So there
I
you
thought
have
I
it.
could have sworn you said New Year. Keep going.
But yeah, but Jimmy Johnson is going to continue to drive, if you're interested to see what it does next, in IndyCar part-time for the next few years, so that'll be cool to see.
I feel like a lot of retirees go to Indy.
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
So for any people
Are those the ones with the big spoiler? They're like the little box
Formula One,
cars.
it's like the
similar to
road
Formula
tracks.
One,
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm thinking of something completely
so
different.
it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts that. Obviously, very different from NASCAR. So, but he's obviously extremely talented. I didn't like him because he was so dominant, but I've
Gets
learned that he's a really great guy, super humble for someone that wins as much as he does.
We're gonna catch him at the
And-
next
You won
tractor
what?
pull.
6 in a row?
Yeah, maybe
God.
5 or 6 and like 7 total. So
Because I think the last people to win a championship, there was a stretch there. The only 3 people had won championships: Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, because he went on like a 6-year run, and who was the other? I think it was, and then Tony won it again, because it was 2005, then Jimmy Johnson, and then Tony Stewart. So there was a good about 8-year period where it was just Tony and Jimmy that won the championships.
Holy crud!
Yeah.
he's very dominant. But best of luck to him in that. Like I said, used to didn't like him, which you usually don't if someone's dominant and it's not your team or driver. But he really is a good guy. I'm excited to see how he does the crossover to IndyCar. And lastly, like I said, we're talking about a little NHL. Last night was the opening night for the NHL
Which
and
was
the
Wednesday.
new season. Yes.
Because y'all be hearing this
Yeah.
on Friday.
Yeah, Wednesday, January 13th was the opening night. There was 5 games, so everyone didn't play. There should be games going on earlier tonight or possibly even now. I know the Predators' first game was tonight,
That's what
so
we can do. We can watch some hockey,
interesting
boys.
to see how that goes.
It's pretty interesting.
See,
I
Tampa.
picked my team just based on that's the one sport that I picked my team based on their colors and their mascot.
Who was that?
The Knights.
The Knights.
Yeah, when they showed up, I was like, I like that.
That's who I picked too.
That's who I picked.
Yes.
That's what I
Preds
picked.
fan, baby.
Oh God, I'm not.
Homegrown, baby. Nashville.
I mean, look, if there's any
Predators,
Tennessee fan at all,
awesome.
I'm a fan by default. That's
Yes.
just how it goes for
The
me.
only Tennessee team I ever cheer for is the Vols. Other than that,
Literally the worst team
hey,
out of all the Tennessee
I'm a
teams.
faithful man. It takes
you
a
are.
lot to stick
Yeah,
around
I'll
through
say
that.
So yeah, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the defending champs. Yeah,
Oh, did they win
a
last
Florida
year?
hockey team. Get you some of that.
That's weird. A Florida hockey team winning the whole thing.
I think there's one in Arizona,
Yeah, there
too.
is
Yeah.
the Phoenix
Nice.
or Arizona
I was going to say
Coyotes.
freaking
Coyotes.
Diamondbacks. Good God.
There used to be an NHL team in Atlanta.
You say, yeah, the Coyotes. He goes, oh, the Wolves.
Yeah.
The Wolfpack.
The hyenas. Gotcha.
Gotcha.
So I honestly though, we should try to get into that, boys, because
Yes.
honestly, it's the only sport where you can fight and not get ejected.
I don't think they're gonna let you try out. You probably got too many concussions.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to because I would.
Well, you said
literally-
let's get in on
Oh,
that.
No,
God,
that's
don't
not
even.
what I meant. Hey, we could play field hockey.
Field hockey.
I mean,
So like not hockey.
Yeah.
it's
Hockey
not
on
hockey.
grass.
What do you play? Grass hockey. It's like ice hockey, but on grass.
But
No, we're really
it
like
was-
hockey is like to me probably like the most or one of the most like fast-paced sports.
It's-
there is.
it's
There's just
very
back and
entertaining to
forth,
watch.
The
go,
problem
go,
with
go.
hockey is that they don't market it, bro. Their marketing sucks for it. I feel like if they would just put the money into marketing, they would get more of a fan base.
I don't know. It's interesting
'Cause
the
I
way
never see
marketing
anything.
works because I never see anything for the NFL. You
Well,
know,
Well, it's the
already
NFL.
there.
it's the
They don't
exactly,
need
Their
to.
name's
but it's
big
also
enough
the
already.
NHL.
But the NHL, I mean, it's never been to that that level of NFL.
Yeah,
or
I'm just
NBA.
curious. I'm just curious how you market that. Like, what a commercial for
You
want to
see some
would
dudes
look like.
fuck each other up, then come on down to the NHL.
He just went all in. I think one of my favorite things to watch in the NHL is when they do have their fights. You know, eventually they send them to the little penalty box. It's just a grown man sitting in timeout. It's like, this is bullshit. Garbage. You're gonna sit in timeout. Put your nose in the corner of the box.
Only knocked out like 3 of his teeth. Come on, bro.
But yeah, I think Predators fans are awesome. You never expect a hockey team to be successful in the middle of football country in the South.
Yeah.
Super cool. And, you know, college football atmospheres are great. Soccer, I think, is the best. Don't at me. But yeah, I've seen But yeah, I've seen some hockey atmospheres that are really sick too. I love the goal horns. Big fan.
Goal horns.
Goal horns.
I got one of those on my truck.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
You'll
Hey,
fit
man,
right in.
hey, let's go down to the JV soccer
Yeah,
team.
just hit it as
As soon as they score.
I'll grab the mic.
You gotta learn how to speak like some foreign language though.
Nah.
That way it sounds more majestic.
More authentic.
Yeah. All right. Is that everything you
Yeah,
got,
that
bro?
was it.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, good deal. All right. Well, hey, man, this was fun. Jesus Christ, we went 2 hours. Let's go. All right.
Let's go.
I'm telling you, we got to keep it to a certain time limit per segment. And
I
all
know,
that kind of
man.
stuff.
We'll figure it out. We're just
'cause
vibing at this point.
You underlined brief twice for the brief wild card recap, and I look over, and by the time we're finished it, we're running 40 minutes, and I'm like, what
hey, look,
in
man,
the...
time flies when you're having fun. Bro.
Hey, man, brother.
Hey,
You were having
once-
fun?
So,
This is a torture. I hate all of you.
And once the NFL ends, we're gonna have a lot of time open up. So we're gonna,
yeah.
we're gonna get
Yeah,
creative
we'll
with
have
some
to
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. So if
probably
you
gonna be-
NBA's starting back up again, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, also, quick note: James Harden to the Nets. In case you didn't know, that's old news. But I figured.
that dude got himself some
I
Uber
thought it
Eats.
was just a joke. I didn't know it was legit.
James Harden is fat as hell. You seen
Dude,
him,
he's
huh?
yeah,
He
he's
ain't-
put on
he's
some
freaking-
weight.
he's
So we
spamming
got-
that Uber Eats,
they got
but
James
quarantine.
Harden. They got James Harden,
James
Kyrie
Harden.
Irving, and Kevin Durant over there now.
Yeah, and
How's-
Kyrie's being himself, being
Yeah.
melodramatic about everything.
How's KD doing with his recovery? Is he healed up okay?
Has he been playing? I haven't really been watching.
Yeah?
it's been
I haven't
Is
watched since season before last because I just
And
I don't
Russ
know.
is.
I just knew LeBron was going to go to the finals.
Russ is
and
where
win.
now?
Is
Wizards.
that
Wizards.
is it the team that Stephen A is always all about? Is the Nets?
Oh, it's the Knicks.
The
Knicks.
Knicks. So yeah,
Which I don't
New
know.
York.
If you're a Knicks fan,
I'm sorry.
I mean that's your own fault. Same with Cowboys fans. I mean,
my.
you can
can't
keep
hate
hold
the
on to hope,
Cowboys.
brother, but you ain't winning another Super Bowl in the next 10 years. Quote me on it. At me.
We'll find
Just
out.
saying.
No one's gonna at your ugly butt. No one wants to take the time.
I know. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. We've gone on a little bit too long here, but thank y'all for joining us. It's been a lot of fun as usual. Check us back here next Friday. Yeah.
This is the Hard as Hammers podcast.
The hardest.
Woo!
Shout out to Aiden and Drew. I know that they might not listen to the whole thing, but there's two kids I coach, so they were like,
Oh, Aiden Adkins.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, hold up. So I gotta say something before we get off here. Aiden Adkins, if you do listen to this, man, I went to every single one of the football games last year. You are my man crush. I just want you to know that right now. Your hair is
he cut
luscious.
some of it off.
Oh no! No!
Yeah.
No, man, he'd take that helmet off and he'd throw his hair back, and you just hear me up in the stands. Oh my God!
It looks like he got a bowl on his head.
Oh no, he tainted it. Oh
Hey,
God,
Hey,
no!
hell about that shit.
regardless of what your hair looks like, you're
no.
still a beast, brother.
No, shout
Keep
out
doing
to,
your thing.
but seriously, shout out to all the guys that I coach, all the guys that coach with me.
Shout out to Signal Mountain
Yeah.
football.
Shout
man.
out to all the fans.
All my
listen.
fans.
Yeah. All,
Shout out to all the pairs.
yeah, all my fans. Only fans.
Big
No,
guys.
I'm just kidding.
Hi,
Shout out to all
Mom.
the patrons.
I would
Hi,
not
Mom.
put it
Hi,
past you.
Dad.
I would not put it past you.
Get on there in a towel. Hey, buddy.
This is the Silliest Screws podcast.
This is the tough as nails, dog.
Yeah, this has been the Tough as Nails podcast.
Bob
Thank
the
y'all.
Builder
I'm
podcast.
Tater.
Thank you.
That's what's your name, brother?
I'm the guy.
Brian.
Big guy, Bryson. We got big old.
Lander.
We got Lander. And
This is Big Shaq, aka Dad, also known as the sexiest man alive.
Okay.
Coming to you live from Signal Mountain.
Shut him off. Shut him off.
Yeah, you're done, son.
Daddy's ready
done.
for it.
So yeah, make sure to leave a review, leave a star rating.
Rate us 5 stars. Please comment. We want it.
If you star us 1, I mean, I'd understand. I completely 100% understand why.
Well, we're working on it.
That's one more star than I've ever gotten.
Yeah, I mean, we got to start working somewhere, brother. So thank y'all. Make sure to spread word of mouth. I mean, we're going to be on the YouTube. We are officially on Apple Podcasts now.
You can't spread word of mouth right now. COVID. It's like you gotta spread word.
Okay, make sure you're 6 feet apart before you scream it across
Before
the
you
room.
speak my name.
So thank
Keep
y'all
my
so
name
much.
out your mouth
Y'all have a
unless you're
great
social
day.
distancing.
This has been the Toughest Nails.
I'm out.